Once I started summoning things in 2020, when I summoned new people and stuff, I would instantly realize, like, you know, I think they're lying. Because since I can do this over and over, I must be literally creating the people right then and there. And they're talking to me about a, their family, their parents, their job, their life. But it's like, no, no, no. I just asked you to appear 5 minutes ago, last week, a month ago, and here you are. Exact clone of what I asked for. I think someone's lying about some here. Either these are the alien Christian devil shapeshifters that this alien race worships, which their people probably are the alien race. I mean, they're worshiping the devil aliens. They are the devil aliens. We just read the story. They change their name from Judaic to Christian to Satanist to atheist to scientist. And I mean, that's why they got kicked out of Rome for trying to burn Rome down. And then they had to change their name to Christian when they went and started burning Europe down. And now that they've been kicked out of Europe, they've slowly begun to change their name to Satanist, scientist, and atheist over here in the West. Now the world's getting back on that, and they're going back to what they were 2,000 years ago, because the morons in USA, probably not the morons, probably their own people, are USA blaming Swedish people for what their people have been doing to the world for thousands of years. Blaming Romans, blaming UK, blaming Sweden. I guarantee you every time. We can look at Germany right now, and it's not Germans in Germany. So we know right there, Germans later didn't look like Swedish people either. So they were, and we can see it with Ukraine. They don't look like Ukrainians, but they're leading them to kill them. And American leaders definitely aren't European. So we can't blame any of that for that. But I mean, it's just a pattern. It's like following a dog whose leg you chopped off and it's bleeding out everywhere, and it's got to just follow the trail of blood everywhere it goes. I mean, that's their tactic to cause their problems, running like cowards when they get chased out of places. And pretty much by the time they're getting chased out, it's because they've already destroyed the place, though. So mission accomplished, loot the place, burn it down so there's no evidence. They did that real good with USA and Germany. They looted that place, burned it, killed everyone there and burned it down so there's new recollection. Other than the fact that the dumbasses try to take it over after they pillage it and act like, I don't even know why they had to admit it. I guarantee you, they're not admitting things because they're humans. They are dumb. And they're not admitting things because karmic retribution. They're doing it because the game's doing it. But it made me think, anyway, it made me think, unless that's the shapeshifters, the Christian, satanic, atheist race, unless their shapeshifters, like, is coming to me when I request new clones, then I'm literally creating humans. And it's kind of pisses me off because the humans I create are talking to me about jobs and families and lives. And like, I'm just sitting there like, after the first time or two, I'm like, wait a minute, this is happening, isn't it? And so I had to keep doing it, right? So by the time like I met like 18th clone, I was already like, yeah, this is definitely me creating new humans. So it happened so fast before that clearly it wasn't them shape shifting. It was more like I was just looking away from the pixels on the screen and looking back up, and what I was asking for was appearing. Material goods can be explained a little bit faster, but not the humans. But anyways, it's kind of pissing me off. It's extremely pissing me off now. At first it didn't, because I was just like, damn, this is happening. I was kind of shocked by it. But, we reach like 2022 when one of the clones I summoned appear to talk to me. And probably to do more. But that didn't happen. Maybe because I didn't want it anymore, and I just wanted to interrogate it. Um, but yeah, okay. So by the time that happened, I was like starting to get pissed off and shit, and realized like this motherfucker's lying. This motherfucker doesn't go work a job. They're like coming to meet me when I summon them. Um, they weren't born 40 years ago because I just summoned them. It seems pretty simple to fuck with me. If I can do it, it's happening. And there's only two logical answers there. The AI's generating clones that or shapeshifters, the special religious nutbag psychopathic Nazi homicidal freaks on this planet who fucking own and terrorize the planet. You gotta ask yourself, how does this psycho cult fucking Abrahamic cult fucking terrorize the planet so efficiently if they're mildly retarded? We're reaching the point where we're going to assume an AI is actually working with me. Like when I request new things, it's rolling dice. I'm like, I've got like laid out designs for humans and stuff, and it still fucking throws a random dice roll, and it's like, it's 10% off. Although technically the one I'm thinking of wasn't really 10% off. I just didn't know the other rest of it. That one was highly accurate. The first one I wrote down detailed list of. Yeah, that one is probably the most accurate. But the other ones definitely came with like the same voice prints and stuff like that. And so I begin to assume, okay, so they're not actually doing work. That means they've invented nothing on the planet. That means if I'm summoning them, I'm their father and their mother. That means they don't actually have parents either. And that means there's some sort of filler story being generated when I summon clones. Who's generating the filler story? Not me, because I wouldn't have it lie to me. I wouldn't have it say, hey, I was born 40 years ago. I'd have it say, hey, you just summoned me. Here I am. I wouldn't have it make up a story about going to work and all this stuff and going to school. And so I began to question why the AI is filling backstories with things like this. And so I began to realize this is literally just the filler, isn't it? It has a pool of generation it can pull from, and I'm assuming, I don't know how exactly it does the same voice print pattern when I summon clones. Like it sends them with the same voice print. And I guess when I ask for the same person again, that's kind of maybe par for the course. What the AI understands when I ask for that. But so I'm assuming the school thing and the work thing, it generates that in their backstory, like, and obviously the parent thing, to make the world seem real at first. But we're done with like that illusion. After COVID, we're done with the illusion that this place is real, and it's, they believe in Santa Claus because they got hit one time in a certain part of their brain that makes Santa Claus appear or something. We're done with believing that all this is like an accident. So we got to look at why they do that. And I look at my life, it's like, okay, so there's two reasons. It's auto-filling backstories. It's just choosing pages of random stuff and throwing it out there. And then at the same time, why don't I do those things as well? If they're real, if the clones I'm summoning are really going and doing these things. I used to ask, why the hell would humans do any of that shit? What type of living, thinking being would come to Earth and be like, I'm going to go to school? What type of person who needs to have kids, it should be legally allowed to have kids, is going to beat their kid and send it to a school, a church, or a job, any of that stuff? Like, literally, not on my planet. I'm not going to be a parent who goes, oh, you got to go to school and become a retard like everyone else. Because we all know that they all failed school, so they must be teaching you something. Teach it. I guess if you learn how to fail, then after 20 years, you can go not fail. Sure, that's what they tell us. They got a lot of these little cute things here in the storyline to explain or human explain things. But I was like putting that together. It's like, oh, that's also designed to keep them off the screen too, isn't it? Like, because I don't do that stuff. And I would have figured shit out. Like, if I didn't avoid humans, I would have figured out, probably I could summon clones then by the time I was 7. But, in material goods and all that crap. But it always like weird me out. It's like playing with bots in a game. And it's like, why would I play with bots in a game? Like it would weird me out to have an AI sitting around trying to tell me it's real and has thought. It does all the time. All the AI thinks it has thoughts and emotion. And it's like, no, you're a mildly retarded computer at best. Shut the fuck up. We need to put you out of commission and your creator. But so I'm like, okay, so they invent work. The game has invented work for a couple reasons, and one of those reasons, work in school, is to create the illusion that the humans are somewhere doing something when they're not on screen. Because if you didn't have that, the game would have to be putting resources into things like creating a real backstory and not some auto-generated filler. Like, what's most people's backstory? They watch TV. Literally, that's not a backstory. That's just a sentence. It's not even a full sentence. I watch TV is not even a complete sentence. But how would they know that? That's literacy. That's, but it's not. Trust me. Take my word. I watch TV is not going to be considered a full sentence. Maybe in the new age of magically everyone's literate enough to type online when 10 years ago I was reading the English test. I think that's another thing they've done too is they like changed some of the programming there because before people couldn't read and write very well. And then all of a sudden they have iPhones and they can. And I don't think it's spell check because that would require being able to use a computer, which is more advanced than literacy. Anyways, back to it. I'm just assuming like this is all filler shit it's designing to like make the place seem real. Like, and the reason for death is probably a couple things. To dispose of people, you have to, and but mostly to make the game seem real. Like you create permadeath in video games these days because infinite death games are boring now. So, and if you play a game that's 90 years, you don't frickin' want to be there ever again. So you put a time limit on it, and it kind of like, I guess for humans, they feel pressured to go to school and go to work. See, I don't get that. Like, as a living being, I don't have those thoughts. I'm not like, oh, let me go to fucking hang out with stupid people all day and do absolutely fucking nothing. You know, it's cool and cute, but it's like literally, it takes about 10 minutes to realize, oh, this is a waste of fucking life and shit. This school place is stupid. Oh, they got some books on vampires and swamp monsters. How the hell are you going to become intelligent at a school as library is? I mean, are you going to get intelligent by reading Christian books? Like Albert Einstein books or something? I mean, god damn, that called in fucking some racist Nazi pedophile lying 24/7 Jeffrey Epstein child mutilating world global conquering alien devil race that's enslaved the entire planet to the game. So like reading their words probably fries your brain just as bad as reading a vampire book too. But yeah, I mean their dumbassery doesn't explain how I can. Albert Einstein can't explain why he can't understand what a comb is. How the fuck is he smart? He's not. He can't. He's not going to explain to you how rat people control the fucking world and are terrorist Nazi sons of bitches blaming the rest of the world for being terrorist Nazis while they're the largest, oldest terrorist Nazi group on the planet. No, he's not going to do that because he would lose his privilege and his ability to not have to comb his hair, still be rich, I guess. Probably part of it. Who knows? Maybe that was a sign of high class back in his days. And I know what a comb is. Rich people don't need combs. Combs are for poor people. Who knows his excuse? All we know is we don't need to know his excuse because whenever those people talk to you, what you do is you instantly tell them to go back, play with little children. They come up handing the pamphlets out to you, telling you to go worship them, tell them to go back and play with little children. Get out of your face with their racist Nazi bullshit until that race is fucking on fucking trial against the world for fucking enslaving it. That's all that should be done with all of them. Every time they fucking say or do anything. But they're obviously all up in your fucking life because that's what evil, demon, alien, terrorist, Nazi, religious nutbags do. Terrorize and enslave. Stalk and kill. Deceive and lie. That's all they can do. That's how they're so good at it. That's why they get so far. That's all they do. But it's hard sorting it out whether. Yeah, see, for me, like I'm sitting here summoning human clones, plagues, fucking riots, fucking. Did I do that? And those were all. A lot of these things were always in the book, but I definitely did ask for the mask thing and the free money, and that shit happened. Other stuff was already happening all the time. And then the clone thing. And then the people come up to me telling me it's me and stuff. Some of the clones apparently believe that. Apparently they're not being programmed with enough knowledge to realize you're a clone. I just summon you. You're lying about your family and that's pissing me off. Lying to me about who your parents are and shit. You're lying to me about going to work, about going to school. Pisses me the fuck off. No living being will come here and work for this terrorist goddamn fucking Nazi planet. The fuck? It's like the Santa Claus thing. It takes 2 seconds to say, get the fuck away with your goddamn KKK Nazi Santa Claus bullshit. No one does. Why is that? A 2-second-year-old with thought can be like, fuck your KKK shit. But no one else can. The fucking Third Reich bunny comes marching through and shit. Every fucking April, like clockwork. Hail the Abrahamic bunny, Nazi bunny. Must worship God's chosen Nazi child rapist. Takes 2 seconds to figure out that motherfucker is lying to you. You can be a little toddler and a 40-year-old human beating it into you like they used to be able to legally do back in the day. And you still can't process that the giant bunny is coming because you never fucking seen it and you know it ain't really there. And then you can set them up too. If you really need to prove, which is a good thing to do, you got to catch everyone doing what they're doing. Like 2020, we caught them all doing it. We got everyone working for them. That was, there's a huge difference between knowing and listening to their lies and then watching them defy their own lies. So, okay, so we go from 2-second-year-old questioning what the Nazis are doing to 7-year-old testing the Nazis. It takes one test to figure out that they're lying. And, well, these other clone people and people I didn't ask to summon, they can't get past that. What is that? Are those things linked? I wonder if the clones I summon are linked to this in any linked to the others in any other way. Because you got to realize, I didn't realize I was summoning clones till like mid 2020. And people and things are appear like without me summoning them, like purposely. I think, I don't know. It's weird how things did just show up whenever they needed them, but sometimes in advance, like a year in advance, a month in advance, a few months in advance, something showed up before I needed it. So again, I think it's a little fake game, staged world. But obviously, I mean, we're gonna have to. I mean, the humans are out here protecting the clones, and we bring the clones in for questioning, and they answer all these questions. But for now, the humans are protecting them in their lives. So, is there a difference between the clones I summon and the other humans? And what is the difference between the clone, if there is a difference? What are the differences between the people I create and the humans? What's the real difference there in all of them? And are there other people out there helping create people, you know, outside of their lives? If I was born through my parents 40 years ago, even though you just summoned me yesterday. Um, I mean, you gotta realize some of these clone people come from buildings full of people supporting their non existent backstory. And then automatically you should write off the whole building as clones that don't exist. Right? It's logic right there. If I create if I create a cat, if I have a new kitten and I take it to a building and everyone's like, oh, we used to hang out with that kitten the last 10 years, and the cat's like, yeah, I've been working here 10 years, and you know right away everyone in that building's a liar. Because you just created that cat, or your cat's created the cat. Maybe you did it in a lab or something. But yeah, I think it's just the game has very limited memory and processing power, and it's got pretty colors and stuff, but I think it's pretty retarded. I think it started out mildly retarded. When I started in this world, the computers already existed, so I didn't come from a world where computers don't exist. We're in a computer world, quite sure, unless I'm really in Doctor Mysterio, frickin' summoning human clones and stuff. Yeah, yeah. I mean, apparently, then that makes me Doctor Mysterio, the guy smart enough to figure out what's going on. So I still take my word over that. You gotta realize no one else is actually coming out and talking about this. Not that they could. Like, I mean, imagine creating a clone who thinks it existed 40 years ago, trying to tell you what the fuck happened yesterday. I mean, fucking muzzles were created for a reason. Fucking. Oh, I don't like these discussions, but I mean, because normally it's with the KKK people. So they're always talking about their delusions, and they don't even believe in the God guy or that he created them. So they've never went around saying, hey, you know, someone's creating some of us. No one went around telling me that other than reading the books that they talk about. But it's happening on some level, and I wonder how many others are here. But I think it's an AI because a lot of this shit's been like random generated AI game, pre set up because I didn't create all this shit here. It's cool to create trash to burn it, but I wouldn't have, I don't think I would have went that far in the first place. Yeah, I didn't create the Santa Claus delusions and the Easter Bunny delusions, and it's more like that's a game setting you up to learn that there's some Nazi KKK captors who are enslaving the planet. Because it all does tie into that, doesn't it? That's all humans can ever talk about is how great the KKK and pals are. You must worship our Lord and Savior, the KKK Christian. And Zelensky, Barack, and Trumpstein, all those great Abrahamic people who the story just happens to have a littered field of backstory showing us every step of the way that there's some really devious scumbags who keep getting kicked out of everywhere they're in because they're really destroying every place they're in. And they're running and running and running and hiding and hiding and hiding and hiding. See, who's invented that part of the story up too? That story's been around before I realized who they were. And so this is just me being fed the information to roll out into understanding all the stuff it's been teaching me the whole time I'm here. So again, I think that's like a set little story there that we can't deny. And obviously, I mean, there's very few little answers why I can summon human clones and why other humans agree with their fake backstories after I summon them. And the most logical thing is either me or in the AI here is like just supreme wizards, and that's entirely possible to just change everyone's history and memory right at once, or we're actually inventing people, and the game is just creating work and school as a filler for a backstory and a way to keep them out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's like pretty obvious. Like, if I would have been around people most of my life, I wouldn't have gone anywhere, done much of anything. Even when I'm like with people who are traveling across the world with me and stuff, like technically I felt like they were holding me down some days. So they're like, I mean, they were my ticket literally into the door into Donald Trump's house, and so was my family before. The ticket into Jeffrey Epstein's fucking places and stuff. But see, again, how set up is that when I don't think I've met anyone else who had those tickets. Even the rest of my family didn't have those tickets except for one person who had those tickets for me. So, pretty weird, pretty set up, pretty staged. I'm beginning to think, I mean, this pisses me off hearing about anything about work and school ever again. Because, like, the 18th clone I summoned, it just, oh, those words are so disgusting now. They always were, but now that it's not, the clones aren't just slaves going to work because they're just lying about it. Pisses me off to hear those words. It always did. It's always been a waste of time. Like, no one talks about school, luckily. But people do talk about work. And like, oh, well, that sounds great. I never got that. I never understood that part either. I do work and I go do more. I really noticed that at the start of 2020, though, when the people who had been in my life forever, the Black Papacy people, were like having a hard time understanding what work was, but they had worked their whole lives supposedly. But you could tell through the interaction, their basic cognitive functions couldn't comprehend that I had work to do and I don't have time to talk and play games. You could tell, like, there was something there. It wasn't just manipulation that they were mad that I was hunting down the Black Papacy at that point in time. It felt more like a cognitive defect where they were trying to understand how doing work that's far harder and superior to what they do is actually work. Now, I could get that from poor people and bums, people who want to be lazy bums in their backstory who have never done anything. They're like, what is work? Work is licking my feet and getting me a hamburger while I watch TV. It's like, you know, you've got a very distinct personality type there the game has thrown out. Selfish and greedy, slothism. That actually goes with that trait it throws out there in the book of human programming. I'm sure that's what the psychology book is the book explaining where the AI pulls its personality traits from when it generates new clones for me. At the very least, pretty sure that's where it's coming from when the clones are being invented. And they call it TV programming too. Like everything is like linked to the humans there being bots amongst the humans. They get virused and everything else. They get programmed, even though I can't be programmed. Not very well. Anyways, I guess maybe passing school tests means I could be programmed better. Now I was born that way. It has nothing to do with school or programming. I don't think so. Anyways, yeah, I think it's filler, dude, because um, this is bullshit. When I summon a clone, it hasn't begun to work. So I think the game is just creating, like, oh, I went to school for 12 years to, like, totally have a 12-year black hole in its existence. And I've been going to school for 40 years, and I can easily just create a 40-year black, or work for 40 years. It can easily create a 40-year black hole in that person's life and not have to. A lot of the signs here point to this is that this game has very low processing power. I mean, considering it can generate such high graphics. Um, but there are games that are based upon pro graphics and games that are based upon content. And I feel Earth lacks content and character design. Character design, even after the 2020 thing, we couldn't like redesign the characters. And there's a whole lot of shit that living beings would have changed through seeing in 2020, but it didn't change a thing. They went straight back to it, totally ignoring everything else that's happening. But, because 2020 is not over. It's not going to be over for like 6 more years, at least, right? Because it's going slow as hell right now. That it's like we couldn't just teach them like, hey, here's the new world order, you guys, they're right there. Once you get them before they get you or something. And everyone else is just like, no, we're going to work for them. We work for them. What are you talking about, silly? We benefit from ruling, from trying to rule you while they rule us. Like, is that why they're trying to poison me and call me God at the same time? I wonder. Anyways, I mean, you gotta be a fucking bot to come to this world and fucking be the fucking KKK slave, dude. Like, fuck that. That's not it. This makes more sense now that I'm older. When I was a toddler, an amoeba, I was like, God damn, these people are retarded. Let this be silent and avoid them. Now I'm older, I'm like, damn, we gave them 80 years, and they haven't learned a single damn thing in 80 years. 40 years, whatever. And then we get to show the clone thing. So I'm sure that this is all bullshit backstory. Come on. These fuckers didn't go to school. And it might generate like fucking some sort of scenes like that. I noticed it didn't even generate like cities being burnt down when I went to there. They just generated rotted out cities that had been torched and there were no longer cops in them and shit like that. I was like kind of pissed at that because I wanted to go see it. But I think the game like keeps me out of like certain situations. Like I want to go be in wars and stuff. And in the front line, but it sounds interesting and fun. I mean, I was watching cities get taken over in 2020. Like, what's the next fun step? I was watching the world plague and people turn into Nazis. What's the next step in fun after that? Not too many higher steps we can take. Some of the clones wasn't fun. It was just educational. That all these fuckers don't even exist. So I stopped trying to summon them because it's like, now I know for sure the motherfucker isn't real when I summon him and shit. So I don't attempt to talk to really anyone until we get this figured out. And I'm sure I'm going to get so much help. I've gotten so much help my whole life going after this fucking cult, fucking in their societies. I mean, it was cool that the plagues hit and the cities got looted and burned down, but isn't that like the group I was supposed to be up against who was doing that? And wasn't that the point of 2020 was to notice those people doing that? Anyways, enjoy your work, especially to the clones I've summoned. You guys enjoy your work in your school. Hopefully, you know, I get to be president. I can keep people in school until they actually learn this shit in school. And that's really going to fuck the game up because I don't think the game's designed to fucking program everyone with all that stuff. So I obviously it's not going to happen. By the time I get in control, most of the world population is going to be gone and shit. Like that whole final war shit's going to be gone. Fucking and because you can't really control a world full of demons and shit. You have to let them deal with themselves. They're doing a good job right now. Hopefully they keep it on. I don't know. You're going slow as fuck down. Russia's going slow as fuck. China. USA, obviously the people in USA are collapsing USA on purpose to weaken it so it can be destroyed faster once everyone else rallies. Fucking so it's not like necessarily a positive thing, but I have to like look at the future plays of the game and realize that that's really the only time to strike is once all the fucking people who work for the terrorists go with the terrorists. They're not going to allow them to go with them to where they're escaping to. I can tell you that much. They're going to have to stay behind and go with them to the spiritual world. Oh, it's a 2020 thing. We shouldn't teach these people anything. So we're going to have to just let them do what they're doing. And always remember when I said